Welcome to PA History to Go, a series of videos presented by the Pennsylvania Historical Museum Commission with funding from the Institute of Museum and Library Services. These short videos, filmed at locations along the Pennsylvania Trails of History, serve to introduce virtual visitors to our sites as we explore the varied stories that make up Pennsylvania's rich history. Watch them all to learn about the people, places, industries, and events that make Pennsylvania so special. Located in Northumberland, Pennsylvania, the Joseph Priestley House was the American home of 18th century British theologian, philosopher, educator, and political theorist Joseph Priestley. Best known for his discovery of oxygen in 1774, Priestley lived most of his life in England, where he became an outspoken proponent of Unitarianism in the American and French Revolutions. He and his wife Mary, who designed this house, immigrated to Pennsylvania in 1794 in search of religious and political freedom, as well as the financial means to pursue Priestley's scientific interests. He lived here from 1798 until his death in 1804. The Joseph Priestley House and Laboratory is an important historic site that preserves and interprets his contributions to American history.
Welcome to the children's room. The purpose of this room is to show visitors what life would have been like for the children who lived in Northumberland. These children started chores early, age 3 or 4, and they did lots of chores. They worked from the time they got up till they went to bed. No games, no fun until your chores were done. If your parents, your mother, had any education, she could teach you. Or if they had a little money, they could go to a dame school. Some boys became apprentices where they would learn a craft for the rest of their life. One thing everybody learned was to use the table loom to make tape. And they were used for so many things. To hold the utensils in the kitchen, to tie bags of grain, all kinds of food bags. Over here we have boys wearing dresses. All boys wore dresses, and you did not get out of those dresses until somebody needed you to. If you were wealthy, you could be wearing dresses when you were 8 years old. The homes were the size of the pine trees. This house is made of pine. Many of them had just a platform for the second floor. And to get there, somebody in the family probably made a ladder. Everybody slept up there. Sometimes there was one wall. If you needed relief in the middle of the night, can you imagine lighting your candle, walking down one of them to go outside to the outhouse? They didn't take that chance. That was the special use of this. And one of the children's chores was to empty it every morning. That's a chore that rotated, and they were happy about that. This was a very important thing. All the boys would learn to hunt. First you went with your father. This is a Pennsylvania long rifle. And it is incredibly heavy. And you and your dad would take turns carrying this until you were a good enough shot to go by yourself. This is a horn from any old cow, I suppose, but they could use any. And the most important thing to me about this is these people did not waste. Here we have a spoon. That's not plastic, that didn't exist. This is a spoon made from the horn. Now, if your chores were all done and you weren't dead tired, then you could play. And here are some of the things you might want to have played with. This is one of my favorite. This is called a buzzsaw. If you were walking down by the river and your feet were getting stuck in the mud, that mud might have been clay, and you could bring some home and make your own marbles if your mom gave you permission, because you'd have to let them dry by the fire. Now, many families were religious to the extent that they didn't want dice in the house. And there was something they used instead, and that's called a teetotum. And you see the marks of the dice are on the outside. Tops were very popular, especially because they're easy to make. A lot of the parents worked with wood. Now, some families on Sunday did not allow children to play with any toys that didn't have to do with the Bible. This was a favorite, Jacob's ladder. So this is the ladder. Endless hours of fun just doing that. Something else that was popular with those people were Noah's Ark. And of course with that, for giving gifts, you could always build a new pair of animals. They did play jacks, but some of those jacks were pieces of bone. You play checkers. They didn't always get to buy a checker, but look what they could use. Slices from the corn cobs. They also played a game of graces. Now this was a girls' game. Both people have 2 sticks and there's 1 hoop. And you are tossing them back and forth. Cup and ball. I bet you've heard about cup and ball. Maybe you have one yourself. Now don't expect me to get the ball in the cup, but what you're trying to do is to go like that and have it land in the cup like that. Dolls. Dolls were all homemade. You certainly can make them out of corn husks, but also people had a little material left from making their own clothes. There weren't stores to go to buy clothes. And so those leftovers would become rag dolls. You may be interested in the fact that Little Red Cap became a popular book at that time. And the girls loved the red cape. You know her as Little Red Riding Hood. So girls wanted their mom to make them a red cape. I'd like to thank you for visiting our child's room to give you an idea of what life was like for the children in Northumberland in 1800. Please come visit us. Check it out for yourself.